Have you ever noticed that the most powerful truths are often the simplest? E equals MC squared. Love your neighbor. What goes up must come down. Simple statements, profound implications. Islam has this same quality. On the surface, it seems remarkably simple, but the more you explore it, the more depth you discover. It's simple enough for a child to understand, yet deep enough that scholars spend lifetimes studying it. So why does Islam feel both simple and powerful? Let's start with the simplicity. The core message of Islam can be stated in one sentence. There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. That's it. That's the foundation. One God, one final prophet. Simple. Compare this to other doctrines. The Trinity. God is one, but also three, but not three gods. Original sin, you're born guilty for someone else's mistake. These require theological degrees to explain. But Islam, one God who created everything. He sent prophets to guide humanity. The final prophet was Muhammad. You worship God directly. You'll be accountable for your choices. Simple, clear, logical. There are 5 main practices in Islam, the 5 pillars. First, declaring your faith. Second, praying 5 times daily. Third, giving charity. Fourth, fasting during Ramadan. Fifth, making pilgrimage to Mecca if able. That's it. 5 straightforward practices anyone can understand. A child can grasp these concepts. You don't need a theology degree. You don't need to study ancient languages. Islam is accessible to everyone. But here's where it gets interesting. This simplicity is precisely what makes Islam powerful. First, simplicity removes barriers. When religion becomes complicated, it becomes exclusive. Only scholars understand it. Only priests access God. But Islam democratizes faith. A shepherd and a professor have equal access to God. No intermediaries, no barriers. Second, simplicity creates focus. When you have one clear message, worship one God, you're not distracted by theological debates. Your energy goes into actually living righteously rather than arguing about doctrine. Third, simplicity makes it universal. Islam isn't tied to one culture, one language, one ethnicity. Its simplicity allows it to transcend borders. A Muslim in China practices the same basic faith as a Muslim in Brazil. But let's talk about the depth, because that's where Islam truly becomes powerful. The Quran is the perfect example. It's written in simple, clear Arabic that a 7th century Arab could understand, yet it contains layers of meaning that scholars are still discovering 1,400 years later. Take one verse. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. Simple statement, a child understands it. Things will get better. But reflect deeper. It doesn't say after hardship comes ease, it says with hardship comes ease, meaning relief exists within the difficulty itself. Deeper still, in Arabic, hardship is definite, but ease is mentioned twice, implying one hardship brings 2 eases. Scholars have written volumes analyzing these few words. This is the pattern throughout Islam: simple surface, infinite depth. Prayer is another example. The physical act is simple: stand, bow, prostrate, sit. Anyone can learn it in minutes. But the spiritual depth of prayer, you can spend a lifetime exploring it. The mental focus, the spiritual connection, the physical benefits, the psychological peace, there are layers upon layers. Even Islamic ethics are simple yet profound. Be honest, be kind, be just, help the poor, respect your parents. Simple rules, but implementing them in every aspect of life requires deep wisdom and constant self-development. This combination of simplicity and depth is actually a sign of divine origin. Humans tend to complicate things. We write 1,000-page legal documents for simple concepts, but when God communicates, He makes it simple enough for everyone to access, yet deep enough that it never becomes exhausted. The Prophet Muhammad embodied this perfectly. He explained complex theological concepts in simple parables. When asked about righteousness, he didn't give a lecture. He pointed to his heart and said, "Righteousness is in good character." Simple, powerful, deep. This is why Islam transforms lives so effectively. You don't need years of study before you can start practicing. You start with the simple basics. Believe in one God, pray, be good, and as you grow, the depth reveals itself gradually. It's like an ocean. You can play in the shallow water as a child, but if you want to dive deeper, the ocean is vast, full of treasures waiting to be discovered. Islam welcomes you wherever you are and invites you to go as deep as you're ready. This is also why Islam appeals to all types of people. The simple person finds it accessible, the intellectual finds it stimulating, the spiritual person finds it fulfilling, the practical person finds it applicable. Everyone finds what they need because simplicity and depth coexist beautifully. So why does Islam feel simple yet powerful? Because it's designed by the Creator who knows exactly how to communicate with His creation. Simple enough that no one is excluded, deep enough that no one is bored, clear enough that you know what to do, profound enough that you never stop growing. This is the beauty of divine wisdom. Humans couldn't design a system like this. We either oversimplify and lose depth or overcomplicate and lose accessibility. But Islam balances both perfectly. Maybe that's exactly what you've been looking for. Not a religion that demands years of study before you can start practicing, not a faith so shallow that it leaves you unfulfilled, but something simple enough to begin today, yet deep enough to sustain you for a lifetime. That's Islam. Simple yet powerful, accessible yet profound, easy to start, infinite to explore.